Some plants are big, some plants are small, but no matter the size, we love them all. But if they're really big, how do they get water all the way up there? Because that's really impressive. Well, we can divide plants into two groups. We can say plants that have piping to transport water and nutrients, we call vascular plants. Also, there's the non-vascular plants that do not have the same types of structures, but instead primitive forms. So there's non-vascular plants and then vascular plants. Non-vascular plants would be like this moss here that is so small, water can just hit it and it will diffuse. So water moves through diffusion on these mosses and liverworts and hornworts. But with these bigger plants, we call them vascular plants, and they have structures called xylem, which is a specific kind of piping of cells that moves water through the plant. While non-vascular plants mainly move water through diffusion, vascular plants move water through diffusion and a thing called bulk flow, which is where we have a large amount of water moving all the way from the roots up to the leaves and then evaporating or transpiring off. Now there's three main mechanisms of which we have these things occurring, and these are all due to properties of water and physics. Let's take a look at the water molecule. The water molecule has one oxygen and two hydrogens. The oxygen really wants those negatively charged electrons, and so what it does, it'll steal them, borrow them from the hydrogens. It'll take them, and now the oxygen is partially negative, so we call this a partial negative charge. And the hydrogens are partially positive. This gives us a polar molecule. This polar molecule can then interact with other polar molecules, i.e. water molecules. And so now we have a bunch of hydrogen bonding, or interactions of hydrogen with the negatively charged oxygen. So we saw that the water molecule is partially positive and partially negative, which gives it a polarity. Because of this, there can be hydrogen bonding in water molecules. And so hydrogen bonding and the polarity of water molecules allow for it to move through the plant. And there's three particular ways we can define it. The first way is with adhesion. I have an iced coffee here, it's ice is melted. So what happens is water molecules can adhere to surfaces of other charged molecules because of polarity. So I have a paper towel made of cellulose, plant material. If I put it in, water's gonna move up. This is called capillary action. So the water molecules adhere to the surface of the paper towel. This is quite exciting, and it happens passively, simply due to the polarity of the molecules. The second way that water moves up the plant is with a very hotly disputed theory called the cohesion tension theory, in which water molecules all the way from the roots up to the shoot pull on each other because they are hydrogen bonding. So basically what happens is little water molecules are in the root, but they're all connected to each other like this and like this. And so then they keep pulling on each other, but when they get pulled out of the top where the leaves are, then they have a chain that keeps pulling them along. This is perhaps the one theory that is hotly contested, but it's our best guess as to how most of the water moves throughout the plant. The third and final way that water moves through vascular plants is by root pressure, where the plant creates a solute gradient to make water move in particular directions. Now what this means is that the plant cannot actually pump water. So how does water get in the roots? Well, what happens is the plant actually moves solutes, or like ions. And so the plant can pump ions, which can change the osmosis patterns or diffusion of water across these semi-permeable membranes in the cells. And once we have that, then we can create a continuous pressure gradient all the way from the roots to the shoot and to the leaf. So if we look at the pressure or water potential, we'll see that it's on a gradient and changing all the way to the top where the leaves are.